Most people think constant urgency means they're falling behind or not doing enough. It's not. Urgency isn't about productivity. It's a symptom of broken priorities and organizational anxiety. When everything is urgent, nothing truly is. And that pressure keeps your body and brain in a constant state of reaction. In today's video, I'll break down what's really happening behind the scenes, why this pattern burns you out, and how to respond in a way without hurting your reputation or your health. Urgency isn't about work itself. It's often a leadership response to uncertainty, whether that be market shifts, revenue pressure, board expectations, or potential layoffs. When leaders feel that pressure, urgency becomes a way for them to reassert momentum, even though nothing has changed. The problem is with pressure, it rarely comes with clarity. And many organizations, they don't have strong prioritization or clear decision rights. So many leaders don't even know what they're capable of making decisions on. Everything goes up the chain for approval. So instead of making trade-offs, everything becomes labeled as ASAP. On top of that, leaders are often rewarded for looking responsive and fast, rather than creating sustainable systems, which requires time. So urgency becomes performative. Fire drills get praised, thoughtful pacing does not. And as urgency moves down the organization, it intensifies. A vague message like "this is important" at the top quickly turns into "drop everything" by the time it reaches individual contributors. That explains why there are so many artificial deadlines. They're covering up for delayed decisions, internal misalignment, or fear of how stakeholders might react. So it's truly not an urgency. When you live inside that system long enough, your body starts treating every workday like a crisis, whether it is or not. And that puts your nervous system in a fight or flight mode. What happens? Your brain never receives the signal that it's safe to slow down. Your cortisol levels stay elevated. Recovery never happens. And over time, it takes a toll on your system. And we all know that when the nervous system stays overactivated, it puts us under chronic stress. And when chronic stress is left unaddressed, it eventually leads to burnout. This degrades performance, and research shows that chronic stress reduces decision quality, creativity, and memory. It also creates invisible work, the things that people never see. For instance, you stay up late online just in case. You check your Teams and Slack messages, emails. You skip breaks, including lunch, because something might come up. And that's not healthy. On the surface, it appears as dedication, but it's sustained hypervigilance. And over time, this also erodes trust and autonomy, because when urgency is overused, you stop believing what your leadership says, because everything is a crisis. And when everything is a crisis, real crises, they lose credibility. So what do you do in these situations? The answer is not to push back on everything or to ignore the urgency. That will only backfire. The real skill is to determine what is true urgency and what is false manufactured urgency. And you can respond in a respectful manner to protect your energy and your credibility. You start by clarifying, not by complying with every single request that you receive. And you do so by asking calm professional questions, such as, what happens if this waits till tomorrow? Not, can this wait till tomorrow? Because the automatic response to that is going to be, no, it cannot wait till tomorrow. The next question is going to be, Is this time sensitive or priority sensitive? There is a difference. You have more runway if it's priority sensitive. And if it's priority sensitive, you're going to follow up with a question of what should deprioritize if this gets moved to the top? This allows you to prioritize and set boundaries with your manager without making any formal announcements about it. Keep in mind that real urgency holds up under scrutiny. False urgency does not. Next thing you need are internal filters. And I know that when you receive another urgent request, you want to scream at the top of your lungs, but I don't want you to react. I want you to respond in a thoughtful manner by, again, asking questions. The first is going to be, is there an external deadline? If there is, you know it's a client request or a client escalation, and there's probably not going to be much wiggle room. If it's internally set, there's probably going to be more flexibility with that, and you just need to speak to the right people. The next question is going to be, what is the real consequence to delay? Is there a real consequence to delay? The third question is, can this be addressed later? If none of these apply, you're most likely dealing with pressure rather than urgency. This is how you protect your energy. By asking thoughtful questions and determining whether it is a true urgent request or a false manufactured request. When I worked with engineers, they would always tell me that whenever they received a request, they were never given any background context. And so they would be working in the dark. This is a way and an opportunity for you to determine that. And also to protect your energy by setting those intentions and boundaries. Again, not by announcing them, but by asking questions and making statements. So for instance, if something needs to be done, you can say, I can have this for you by tomorrow morning. Does that work? Give yourself some buffer time. Or if this needs to be done today, I'll need to push project X out. Can you confirm? It puts you on the same page as your manager. Finally, we need to redefine what good looks like internally, because fast does not always mean effective. Busy is not the same as valuable, and immediate isn't always important. Remember that sustainable performance comes from clarity, not from adrenaline. And I'm sure that you've all dealt with false cases of urgency, and I'd love to hear how you've handled these situations. Share in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.